Welcome back to the deep dive, where we take all that research, the market reports, the data, the forecasts, and turn it into knowledge you can actually use.
And today, we are zeroing in on a market that's just, well, incredibly resilient northern Colorado real estate.
Exactly. We're going deep on the key cities, like Fort Collins, Greeley, and Windsor, using fresh 2025 data to really understand the stability we're seeing.
And we're going to unpack some really smart buying strategies, things like interest rate buydowns that you need to know about right now.
And that strategy part is so critical because Northern Colorado, it is not one single market, is it?
Not at all. It's so nuanced. And the shortcut that smart buyers are taking is looking past the obvious hubs. But you have to be careful.
Because the personalities of these cities are just worlds apart.
Wildly different, yeah. And choosing the wrong one can ruin your move. So our goal today is to give you a blueprint, a shortcut to finding that value and, avoiding that big mistake.
Okay, so let's ground ourselves in the big picture first. We have a key number that sort of defines the whole region right now.
We do. The overall median home price in northern Colorado in 2025, it hovered right around $585,000.
Which is huge, because that figure signals really a massive shift towards stability after that roller coaster we saw in 2022 and 2023.
Yeah, that's the headline.
So let's unpack that. If you had to describe the 2025 market in just one word, it would have to be stabilization.
That's it. We saw it across the entire region, and it was driven by really two core trends.
What were they?
Well, first, we finally saw an inventory recovery. New listings were up 8.2% compared to 2024.
And that number sounds small, but in real estate, that's a huge deal for buyers.
It's massive. It gives you breathing room. It gives you choice.
Yeah.
You're not forced into making a sight unseen offer in 5 minutes anymore.
And the second trend, which almost seems to defy logic, was price resilience.
Exactly. Even with those higher interest rates, which should have pushed prices down, they held incredibly strong.
Right around that 585 mark.
Right. Which just shows you the underlying demand here is, well, it's structurally powerful. People want to live here.
That's the part that's so interesting to me. We spent most of last year with rates locked in that pretty painful 6.5% to 7.5% range. So why didn't we see a bigger price drop? Why did things hold so firm?
A couple of reasons. First, I think the shock just wore off. Buyers finally started to accept that, maybe 7% is the new normal, and they just budgeted for it.
They adjusted.
They adjusted. But the bigger reason is the economic growth here. It's creating this constant demand. Northern Colorado is an economic engine.
So what are the specific catalysts? What's driving that engine?
The biggest news from 2025 was, without a doubt, the federal government relocating the USDA headquarters to Fort Collins.
And that's not just a few jobs.
No, we're talking hundreds of high-paying, very stable government jobs moving in over the next 5 years. That's a long-term anchor. And at the same time, you've got the massive sugar mill redevelopment down in Longmont, which is just completely transforming the downtown area.
So these big foundational projects create this floor under the market.
They do. And it's worth pointing out that total sales were down just a tiny bit, like 1.1%. So what that tells you is we're in a really balanced market. Buyers actually have some negotiating power again.
That economic context is crucial, but let's be real. People have to actually want to live in these places.
Of course.
And the decision, the difference between a smart buy and a mistake, it really comes down to the city's personality. And when you look at Weld County, those differences are getting wider, aren't they?
They really are. It's a huge mistake to just look at a median price. You've got Evans, Greeley, and Windsor, and they offer three completely different lifestyles.
Okay, let's start with Evans. It's the most affordable entry point. We're talking an average price around $405,000. What's the value proposition there?
Evans gives you genuine peace and quiet. It's got a real community feel, and you get so much more for your money.
More space.
A lot more space. More square footage, a bigger yard. It's perfect for remote workers or, say, retirees who don't need to be right next to the nightlife.
And it has its own draws, right?
Oh, yeah. The crown jewel is Riverside Park. It's got this beautiful 7-acre fishing lake, great trails. And you're not isolated. You're only 10 minutes from Greeley, maybe 20 minutes from Fort Collins.
Okay, so moving up the ladder just a little bit in price, we get to Greeley.
Right around $420,000.
And Greeley sometimes gets this rap, maybe unfairly, for being the industrial or agricultural hub. But your data says it's really the culture and value hub now.
That old reputation is just wrong. Greeley is diversified so much. For that price point, you get incredible city amenities.
Like what?
It has the strongest job market of the three, for sure. You've got university healthcare, everything, and the downtown scene has just exploded. The brewery cluster alone, WeldWorks, Rule 105, it's fantastic.
So it's balancing that affordability with a real lifestyle.
It is. You've got cool cultural spots like the Colorado Model Railroad Museum and the Poudre River Trail for nature lovers. The city is always buzzing with events, too. The Greeley Stampede, Friday Fest, farmers markets.
And the bottom line, financially.
The cost of living in Greeley is 12% less than the Colorado average. So look, if you want full city amenities and a great job base without paying Denver prices, Greeley is the answer. It's the best value play in the region.
All right, now we take a huge leap up in price to Windsor. We're talking $560,000 to $700,000. That's a massive premium over Greeley or Evans.
It is. The median price in late 2025 was almost $585,000.
So why? What are you paying for in Windsor?
You're paying for a premium lifestyle. Windsor feels less like a town and more like a master-planned resort community.
So it's the quality of life.
It's exceptional quality of life. You get over 25 parks, all meticulously maintained. The centerpiece is Windsor Lake, boating, a swim beach, community events. Everything is new, clean, and just, well, nice.
And its location is probably the best commuter spot in all of northern Colorado.
It's perfect. You're 15 minutes from Fort Collins, and you've got this straight shot down I-25 to Denver. So it attracts buyers who put convenience and that high-quality community feel above everything else.
Okay, let's round out the picture with the other big players. Fort Collins is still Fort Collins, rock steady at $575.
Always. And that's largely because of supply. It's just really hard for builders to get new projects off the ground there. Inventory is perpetually low.
You mentioned in your notes that water rights are the actual bottleneck. For someone listening who isn't from an arid state, what does that actually mean for the housing supply?
That is such a critical point. In the West, water is a finite resource. And when a developer wants to build, say, 100 new homes, they have to prove they legally own the rights to enough water to support those homes forever.
It's not just about turning on a tap.
No, not at all. It's about buying and transferring water shares that might have been tied to a farm for 100 years. The process is incredibly complex, it's expensive, and it takes years.
And that's what keeps a permanent cap on new inventory.
Exactly. And that's why you don't see prices truly crash in places like Fort Collins or especially Boulder.
Okay, so what about the other key cities, just quickly?
Longmont is the sweet spot. It's in that $575 to $650 range, and it's set for steady growth because of that sugar mill project.
And for deals?
You look to Loveland and Berthoud. They're a bit more affordable, around $535 to $560. And we've seen some price softening there recently. So that's where you can find an opportunity.
And Boulder.
Still king of the hill. You're looking at 1.3 to 1.6 million. There's just no room to build and too much demand. No crash is coming to Boulder.
All right, let's pivot hard to strategy. You said buyers have choice and time again, which feels like a luxury. So how can you use this slower seasonal market to your advantage?
Well, first, just acknowledge that seasonality is back. And that's a powerful tool. The fall and winter are always the slowest time for sellers.
When it's cold for the seller, it's hot for the buyer.
Exactly. If you want a deal, if you want leverage, you buy before that spring rush hits.
Yeah.
And know that the starter home market, anything under $600K, was hit hardest by high rates. That's where your best leverage is right now.
And this brings us to a specific strategy that directly fights those high rates, the temporary interest rate buy down.
Yes. We're talking specifically about the 21 buy down.
Yeah.
And if you're a buyer, you should be asking for this right now.
So explain how it works.
It's pretty simple. The seller pays the lender a lump sum to buy down your interest rate for the first 2 years. So if the market rate is 7%, you, the buyer, would pay 5% in year 1 and 6% in year 2.
And that monthly savings is huge in the short term.
It's substantial. And the key thing for you to know is that you, the buyer, cannot do this yourself.
It has to come from the seller.
Or the builder.
Right.
A seller might pay about $10,000 for this, but it makes their house way more appealing than just knocking 10 grand off the price.
Okay, but here's the big question I think a lot of buyers have. What if rates drop and I refinance after a year? Did the seller just waste that money? Does the lender just keep it?
That's the most important part, and the answer is no, absolutely not.
Mm-hmm.
The seller's money goes into a dedicated bucket with the lender.
Okay.
If you refinance early, say after 18 months, whatever money is left in that bucket that hasn't been used yet is yours.
So you get it back.
You can use it for closing costs, pay down principal, or sometimes even get a check back. There's no risk of the money just being wasted. It's a fantastic tool.
So what's the one big warning, the fine print?
You must qualify for the full market rate. So if the rate is 7%, the lender needs to know you can afford that 7% payment. Because after 2 years, if rates haven't dropped, that's what you'll be paying.
Prepare for the worst case, enjoy the best case. So we've covered location, we've covered strategy. Let's wrap up with a look ahead. What are your 3 main predictions for northern Colorado in 2026?
Prediction number 1 is pretty simple. No crash, no boom.
A marathon market.
Exactly. The economy is too strong for a crash, and inventory is too tight for another crazy boom like 2021. Expect slow, healthy appreciation, maybe 2 to 4%.
Prediction number 2 feels like it's about where the smart money is heading.
Yeah, it's the affordability squeeze. As Boulder and Fort Collins stay expensive, the real growth is going to be pushed into those value areas.
So Longmont, Loveland.
Longmont, Loveland, and that whole Firestone-Frederick corridor. Smart buyers in 2026 will be looking for value, not luxury.
And the final prediction, the one variable that could change everything.
Interest rates. They are the absolute wild card.
What's the magic number?
Most experts agree it's 5.5%. The moment rates consistently hit that level again, this market will absolutely rip.
Because all the sideline buyers jump back in.
They will flood the market. And that surge will instantly erase all the negotiating power and all those buy-down opportunities we just talked about.
Which brings this whole deep dive back to you, the listener. It sounds like now is the window to use these strategies while the market is balanced and before that leverage disappears.
It really is. And remember that diversity we talked about. If you're looking in Weld County, go visit all 3. Feel the personalities. Evans is quiet affordability. Greeley is culture and value. Windsor is luxury and convenience. You have to see which one fits.
So we'll leave you with a final thought to chew on. The market is finally stable, giving you choice and time to think. But given the constant inventory struggle in northern Colorado, this might be the last window of opportunity before all that pent-up demand comes roaring back. So what is the personal cost of waiting for that magic number of 5.5% if it just means you'll be thrown right back into another bidding war?